Hello and welcome to the Unverified podcast. I'm your host Simi, aka Tamago24774, and of course, as usual, I couldn't do this without three amazing co-hosts. First up, we have Reese, aka GamerCertain.
Where are the other two?
Next up, we have Israel, aka Izzy Rail.
I'm here.
And last but certainly not least, we are joined by Isaac, aka Mechna Gamer.
I almost accidentally kicked a child in the head this week.
Yo, what?
Now, we've heard you say accidentally before. Was the kicking an accident?
No, the entire process was the accident. You know how all these graduations have been delayed? So I was going to my sister's graduation. It was only to, take pictures. It wasn't actually calling out names. So we went, right? There was a venue afterwards where you could get drinks basically. And my family was like, we're not bothered to get drinks. Let's just go home. So I was just walking in front of my family. And all of a sudden I heard my dad shout my name going, wait, and then I felt something against my leg. Yeah, apparently a child literally fell in front of my leg, literally to the point that the head was just about touching my leg.
Oh.
Did you not at least see them walking towards you?
No, Reese, that's the thing. I wasn't looking in that direction, the direction that they came from. They just kind of existed in front of my leg. There was no before or after.
They just instant transmission in front of your leg. They were trying to claim insurance. You know when you jump in front of a car so you can sue?
No, Sammy, I don't know that.
Oh, right, of course. So how old a kid are we talking? Was it a really small child?
No, by kid I mean literally a bit, they were a toddler, which is why they fell. They were trying to walk and fell in front of my leg.
Damn, they were about to get booted like a football, properly across the field,
You're a fucking toe punter.
Yeah, those little toddler legs. I do remember being really young and just struggling to keep up the walking pace with the adults, and it being very tiring to walk. So I do relate to the kid's struggle. Very unfortunate placement for him to fall, but luckily he's still alright. So that's all that matters.
I just remember being stupendously full of energy as a toddler.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think I was a particularly energetic toddler myself. How about you guys?
Apparently I was spoiled. I would stay with my grandparents, and if I didn't want to go to school, I'd just tell them I didn't want to go to school. And he would just tell the school bus, which was there supposed to pick me up, to just go away. But I didn't want to go to school that day.
Oh my god!
Damn, okay then, let's go.
Bro, you are not there's no way okay, I refuse to believe you're Nigerian anymore. I refuse. I could never say that to my parents.
I mean, Israel, so does my mum now. My mum's now saying that I'm Italian after what happened with that football game.
Jesus
right.
Christ.
You know what? We should probably get into that. So, in the last episode of the podcast, we discussed our thoughts on football as a whole and how, we're not the biggest viewers of football.
Except me, and I was
Except
not in that episode.
Israel, who was
with a
not
difference
on
of
the
opinion.
episode.
We did that on purpose.
But the interesting thing now is, if I were to ask the question, did you guys watch the final between England and Italy?
Yeah, I was there.
No.
I watched it.
All right, so Reese staying true to himself with a no. I did switch teams. I am a yes. I watched the match. So first off, how did you guys feel about the fact that England had actually made it to the final?
Surprised.
I was surprised as well. I mean, I wasn't betting against England or anything.
I was.
So when England made it to the final, I actually was like, oh, wow, that's incredible. We could win. Did you guys actually think England could win?
Yeah.
No.
Reese, why are you so confident that England would not win?
Just history, man. Just what's changing?
See, I wasn't sure whether we could win or not, but I just didn't want us to. This is what I was saying since we qualified for the finals. I was like, okay, I want England to lose, but I want it to be as close as possible. And that's exactly what happened.
Now, this is coming from someone who doesn't watch football. I don't even know if the Italy team is considered a good team, but obviously to get to the final,
they are a really good
they
team.
must be, right? Okay.
They are very good. Honestly,
better than England.
Compared to England,
Reese rude.
It's actually pretty surprising we even managed to score in the third minute.
Fact.
Which was incredible.
Yeah, that
because
was a really
beginner's luck.
goal.
Yeah. I mean, it's already beginner if England's been a footballing nation.
Beginning of the match.
Yes, this is the beginning.
Is that how it works? I need to tell how beginners look like at the beginning of my exams and everything.
Just go to the last question, beginner's luck, get that question knocked out.
That's how it works.
It definitely still seemed like England was the villains of that tournament, honestly.
Oh yeah,
and so-
yes, we were.
They are of every football tournament.
I think especially because of England leaving the EU, like people are like, we're not going to let you guys leave us and then win the Euros.
And then
So if somebody had brought that to me beforehand, would have switched sides.
I tuned in at the halfway point. And eventually it goes to penalties. And so, yeah, it's like five attempts for each team. And it gets down to the very last penalty where Bukayo Saka, it was up to him to make sure that England was still in the tournament. He wouldn't have won it had he scored, but they wouldn't have lost had he scored.
They wouldn't have lost.
Unfortunately, he shot the ball, got blocked by the keeper. And, you know, that was the end of it for England.
And then England
there's
went
a lot of
back
disappointment.
100 years in terms of racism.
Yeah. Oh my god. The boy is only 19.
Oh, he's younger than us.
Yes, he's younger than us. That makes it like
Yeah.
imagine having the pressure. Imagine having the pressure of an entire nation at 19.
Something I actually think about, and I'm sure people would contest this, but I feel like if I was in their position, I'm not saying I would score. I am not great at kicking a ball, but I wouldn't feel much pressure at all. And the reason I say that is because I genuinely wouldn't care about what happens.
Honestly, to be fair, same. When it comes to people, I don't take it too seriously, but I'm just like, okay, they try pressure the country on my shoulders. You know what I'm just gonna do? I'm not even gonna try and place this. I just want to shoot this fast enough, put enough power into the ball that the keeper cannot dive.
Israel just kicks it at the keeper's head at 200 miles per hour.
The keeper's head just freaking explodes and gets through the goal anyway.
I mean, I guess if is that a goal or is that just
it's a goal and a
Yo, the ball's
fatality.
past the line.
it's past the line, but like, god damn. At what
But yeah.
cost?
Is there a rule in football which says you can't do that to injure the keeper?
I don't think
You know, just
so.
like-
I don't think so. I
Shouldn't have
no,
gotten
I think
away,
the
that's
keeper,
on them.
To be fair, if
Yeah.
the keeper gets injured during a penalty shootout, I think what happens is they either have I can't remember actually. Hold on. What?
You get someone from the crowd, the most enthusiastic supporter from the crowd just comes in. But absolutely, you know, it would be a lot of pressure. And obviously these boys care so much about the sport. It's a big deal to them. And for that
It's literally
moment,
their
you know,
career.
it's their career. And so you can, the nerves could get to anybody. And I feel like they still gave it their best shot. Unfortunately, that was not a common sentiment amongst all the football supporters.
Unfortunately, someone had a take on Twitter, which I'm like, oh god, you know what? That could be true as well. Southgate chose Saka as well, just because he wanted to make their careers basically and be kind of heroics of be heroes of the country, for winning the penalty shootout for the country basically, and that's the way that was seen. But it seemed like it backfired basically.
Yeah. And I could definitely see that because I've also been thinking if Saka scored that, he would be a national hero. Like he just would be. And the fact that he was 19 wouldn't be a source of, he shouldn't have been put in that position. It would have been like, he's only 19 and he saved the country. Like it would have been. And so that's the thing. When it comes to like a penalty or something like that, it's really just luck. What it comes down to is luck.
I would say it's a combination of luck and also psychology as well, because you have to because of the keeper.
You have to get in the opponent's head. So I guess with all this said and done, there's only one more question left. For the non-football watching amongst us, has this inspired you to start watching football now?
No.
Yeah, same for me. No.
Honestly, understandable for you guys.
They need to, at minimum, at least for me, half the time, half the players, it's just too long and too big.
Yeah.
So here's what I will say. From my perspective, it was entertaining because what I was also looking at was their strategies, like how they were trying to create opportunities.
Yeah,
and I think if you have a lot of football knowledge, then that might actually be interesting. Like, are they going to be able to pull off? Not necessarily will it result in a goal, but being able to see how they're figuring things out as a team.
See, I feel like those kind of moments I feel like it's a thing of once you're into it, it's very easy to get deeper and deeper into it. But I don't know, from a perspective to get into it in the first place, it can be a bit like, because just from a base perspective, it feels like there's not as much attracting someone to from the first onset. Like, I'm going to start watching football. But once you are into it, you start learning all the strategies, you start learning the intricacies, and it becomes more interesting. So
yeah, fair enough.
Right.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I also say good job to the England football team for getting that far. Fairly impressed, actually.
There's always next year.
Yeah.
Is there a tournament next year?
There
Yes.
is.
Yeah,
They'll be able to
World
participate
Cup's next
in
year.
the World Cup. So there'll be a lot more flights going on. Hopefully flights are back to normal. But there is a risk because there has been a reported pilot shortage. This is due to the coronavirus. So, you know, around March of last year when flights got cancelled pretty much worldwide, a lot of pilots were laid off or they were asked to retire early. Now that flights are opening back up, they don't have the pilots to fly these planes. No one was really, or there was a reduced number of people going into pilot training because it wasn't seen as the most secure career path. You know, the optics weren't great. Because they had retired so many early, it also means that their workforce decreased as well. So, yeah, there's currently a pilot shortage. And a tweet went viral last week talking about, and it's unverified, which is fitting for this podcast, but they said that apparently there's a pilot shortage going on. So now they're paying new hires $247 an hour. Now, this is a completely unverified statement. I'm pretty sure this person has pulled it out of their ass, but it is an interesting concept. So a lot of people hopped on that, and they were saying,
$747 per hour, but you know,
he's making a pun.
Funny, bro.
Yeah,
Top banter.
This is great banter.
But yes.
Gosh, Reese, you're so funny. This is why you're funny member of the Unverified podcast.
listen. Okay,
It was a good joke, to be fair.
It was supposed to just stay in the background. You guys brought it to the front. That's not me.
So yeah, a lot of people have been clowning the idea of how they would, you know, become a pilot and not know how to fly the plane because of the offer of $247 an hour. How does that sound to you guys? Would you be interested in hopping on a deal like that?
I mean, I've put a few hours into flight sim. I could probably do it. You know, just finished uni, looking for a job. Let's do it. I know what I'm doing.
Hell yeah.
I've only done the Emirates. We did that Emirates thing a while ago.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, and I already crashed. I'm pretty sure I already broke the tail of the plane my first time flying because I
Wait,
heated the thing up.
Could you tell us more about this? It seems you and Isaac know about this. I don't know anything about this.
Let me actually explain it from my perspective. One day, I just came home from uni. My mom was like, "Yo, Isaac, do you want to learn to fly a plane?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, I can just pay for you to do a flight experience with a full flight simulator. Like you can bring some friends. And I was like, "Yeah, sure, okay." And so we went. It's near the O2, and just went on a flight sim. And there were some experiences. Me and Simba did a loop-de-loop. Israel crashed the plane several times. He broke the tail of a plane.
Basically.
On takeoff, I decapitated someone's house, but some people just don't need houses. So I feel like we're pretty
houses are in
qualified.
though.
Exactly.
Seriously though, would you guys actually consider becoming pilots? Like if it was offered to you? Because I think
Honestly, I barely
would
trust
consider
myself
it.
to cross a road. Forget fly a plane.
I don't trust myself to cross the road, so...
Okay, there's two no's. Israel, how about you?
Definite no. Why? Like I said, I don't want the responsibility of people's lives on my hands. Like a lot of people.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I actually last year looked into being a pilot and just seeing what would it involve. I was looking up careers where you travel a lot. And obviously, pilot comes up.
Wait, really?
Surprise! I mean, who
They
would have
travel?
thought? Yeah,
That doesn't make sense.
it's crazy, right?
How do they travel?
I don't know. I think they get a bus
By
ticket or
boat?
something. Maybe a boat.
Makes sense, yeah, buses.
But yeah, I was just looking into the life of a pilot, and it was really interesting. I found some YouTubers who just talk about piloting life. But yeah, no, it was actually quite interesting. One thing that struck me as the reason why I wouldn't actually want to pursue a career like that, though, is that it is apparently, and it's understandable, it can be a very isolating job because you're never at home. You know, you get holidays, but they're few and far between. Yeah. How do you guys feel about that aspect of it? Like a job in general where you are away from home a lot, would that be a problem for you?
That would give me anxiety. Oh god, hey, I need to remember shit.
For me right now, I wouldn't really mind too much because obviously I don't really, like, it's just, you know, my family at home, which I've been in uni for like the last 4 years, so it's not like I'm not used to being away from them. But like if I decided, oh yeah, I want to start a family, then yeah, no, I would be like 100% no, because like,
yeah,
you know, parents are kind of an important thing. I don't really know too much, but...
It's not just that though, Isaac. It's not just the people. It's also just that comfort of having that one singular place, that one building house that you're going to again regularly every day that you can set up however you want it so it's yours.
I feel like I could do it for a year or a few years, but like I would definitely, like we said, want to, you know, go back to having one neutral place, because just like, I don't know, it's just kind of the idea of adventure, and like, you know, since I'm in all these places for at least one, I'll be like, hey, why didn't I, like, around the airport at least, you know, check out any, you know, places, like tourist attractions, check out any things, you know, try local cuisines and whatnot, just, you know, a bit of adventure. It's like when people go traveling the world and stuff, it would be like that, but I'm being paid to do it for a bit, so.
Fair enough.
I was just thinking, could you fly a plane after you've been, like, trained as a pilot? Because, you know, like, if something, like, goes wrong, there's a bit of, like, dodgy turbulence, you can just go, that's turbulence. But if you know what's supposed to happen, you can be like, no, that's pilot error. That's not supposed to happen.
That is actually quite interesting. Yeah, you just go up to the front. You be like, "Yo, you clearly don't know what you're doing. Let me step aside."
Just, oh my god, that's so wild.
Just like Reese, imagine you're on a plane and the pilot there says, "Oh yeah, sorry guys, we're experiencing a bit of turbulence," and you just shout out bullshit.
You start freaking out other people. I've flown 70 of these in my time as a pilot. And the reason that this is happening is because the engine is failing. Guys, they're lying to you.
We are literally about to die, guys. The engine is stalling.
This just makes me wonder if pilots have actually guys of just people who aren't pilots at all, but are really interested in but don't have a pilot's license, but are really interested in flying, definitely. Like to point out mistakes.
I played Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Literally that, they definitely do. Since there's at least the game for it, there's definitely someone out there going, actually, this is because...
Right. Them guys are always the best. They're so wrong so confidently. I want an ounce of that confidence.
It can be funny to just hear someone who you know what you're talking about and they don't, and they're trying to correct someone else, and you're like, you're wrong, but I'm just gonna let you keep going.
They're just so confident. I love it.
All right, something I brought up, which I thought was interesting, because I am like quite intrigued by this idea of the everyday person becoming a pilot. So I brought up this list of qualities, 10 qualities that are required to be a pilot. And I just want to ask you guys, each of them, if you believe you possess this quality. So the first one is clear communication skills. So first, Israel, you go first. How do you feel? Would you say you have those?
If I'm talking to another expert, 100%. If I'm talking to someone who isn't an expert, 0%. Like 25%.
Yeah.
Right. Isaac, you feel the same way?
I feel like I'm a bit better because... like, in the opposite way, however, because I've just accepted that a lot of people don't know things. So I try to explain things on as basic level as possible. Like, I'm sure Reese knows this because he calls me out sometimes going, I mean, dude, I know what paint is. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And so I feel like I wouldn't say amazing communication skills, but I feel like I can definitely... I've done a lot of group projects and I can definitely at least get a point across and have people understand it. This, even with differing levels of expertise. Like, I've also worked with Tute before, so...
Yeah.
Right. And Reese, how about you?
Yeah, I don't need an expert in the field. I need an expert in me.
Okay.
Someone who speaks Reese.
If somebody, like, knows me, so, like, you guys likely know exactly what I'm talking about perfectly.
Yeah.
But to other people... they have
you sound like
clue.
You're drunk, crazy, and high.
It's
at the
like,
same time.
Oh my God.
they get like half the idea, so it really just depends on how well the person knows me.
Right. That's fair. That's fair. I feel like for me, when it comes to communication skills, I feel like that is a strength I have, that I think I am able to communicate when if there's a problem or get something across to people at different levels. Something, and this is the next thing that I think I would not be so great at. I could probably improve with practice, but just from my experience of playing games, something I know I'm not great at, situational awareness. How do you guys feel about that?
0 out of 10.
Probably yes.
Yeah.
Because I realize I'm very hyper focused on noticing things are going on. I'm just looking everywhere.
You guys have seen me playing games, so no.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm also basing it on my experience with games, because I'll be playing a game during like Apex, and it's like, how did you not see that? And I'm like, I don't know how I didn't see that. I'm sorry.
I'm pretty good. It's just, just with everything in general, just the only thing which sort of dampens the ability is if I'm just sitting there vibing to music with my noise cancelling headphones, then anything can sort of happen. Could sneak up on me and I probably won't notice it.
See, Reese, with the music point, I feel like that's a reason why you shouldn't ever fly a plane. Because, like, at that point, I don't feel like you specifically should be allowed to fly a plane while listening to music. But I don't think you could fly a plane without listening to music.
Oh my god!
So,
easy.
What, for several hours? Because Reese, how much you listen to music? I'm not completely sure.
Also, is that even possible? Because you have to have headphones. Because you have to have headphones on anyways. Being able to talk to like the control towers and stuff. So it's like, I was like, yeah,
you could easily, bring on some extra device to route an extra line of audio into that. Easy.
I was just thinking we're two different sets of headphones, just like like one of those cheap ones for phones, and like an actual full one for.
Or just have it blasting through speakers.
Yeah, let the whole plane hear your vibes.
Just have the control tower be listening to your music.
Yeah.
All right.
Just like, pilot, what is that noise? Is something wrong with your plane? It's J. Cole. What?
Just vibe
Jermaine?
out, guys. Just vibe, please.
Jermaine? Cole?
All right. How do we feel about teamworking skills?
Oh, yeah, good. Okay, yeah.
How much do I like the people?
Well, I mean, as a pilot, you're not really going to be working with the same people all the time. Like, sometimes you will be, but, you're flying all different places. You're going to be with new crews quite often.
I'd say I'm actually really good with team working skills, surprisingly. Like, at the very least, like in my time in uni, even if I don't like the group, I'm able to convince them that I do and then get the project done and then sell them out at the end anyway. So.
Bruh.
You're wild. I think I'm just really lucky. I don't think I've ever been in any group project where I absolutely despise the person in the group project.
That's a lie, and
I refuse
it's
that
not
to be true.
In every group project, there's at least one. Even if you have like the best group ever, there's at least one person, who doesn't do anything. And if there isn't, then you're that person.
Exactly.
Well, unfortunately I'm not that person. I actually do a lot of work actually.
I feel like I have good teamworking skills, but I do have a tendency to like things done a certain way. But I guess I don't know if that applies more to creative projects. Maybe when it comes to flying a plane, I wouldn't be like, actually, no, we're going to do it my way. I know there's a book on how to do this, but I thought of this new way.
Upside down here.
I was about to say something. It would be very worrying if you somehow had a different way of flying a plane. Like, you're like, no, we're doing this my preferred method. But so the book says, no, shh.
My preferred method is with a fishing stick.
Bruh.
We just steer the wheel.
My preferred method is rather than doing that whole cruising, we just fall and then just rise back up. Just keep on doing that like a sign.
Rather than take off then land, we prefer to land then take off.
Yeah. Okay. This one is you can definitely see why a pilot would need this skill. Decisiveness and quick thinking.
Yeah.
Define quick thinking because like I get what you
see.
mean,
Both of them failed.
Like,
they took too long to even answer.
because I think that I do have quick thinking. However, my quick thinking is also very stupid. So at times it's just like
I unfortunately like very quick thinking. My brain needs time to process ideas because otherwise. Because everything I hear starts off as a garbled mess of noises to me. Nothing has any meaning until I have to repeat it back in my head.
Yeah, See, I used to be like less decisive, and I tried to actively become more decisive. So, but I don't think I'm at a point where I would say, oh, I am a decisive and quick, quick thinking person. I do like to think a lot. So I don't think I would say I have this skill.
There's also a very thin line between quick thinking and decisive and impulsive.
Yeah,
very narrow
Yeah.
line there.
that's true. I'm definitely not impulsive. So yeah, that's one I would say I do not have. But so far from what I'm hearing, it sounds like Reese might be a good fit for a pilot, like...
Aside from the music.
See, Simi, eventually, you're going to get through this list and be like, yeah, another very important one is patience, and you're just going to lose me very quickly.
Oh, well, coming up, the ability to remain calm. I definitely have that. I think that's one thing I do have.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have the really weird ability to remain calm despite being anxious in my head sometimes. I'm like, oh, okay.
You guys already told me I can't have my playlist, so no.
Even if I'm terrified, I can at least, remain calm for the moment, basically, until the situation's over. Like, and I've just got the mindset of, hey, worst case scenario, I just die anyway, so, no harm in just, remaining calm
It's
until
a pretty
that
worst
happens.
case, and it's not just you, it's everyone else around you too.
And everyone underneath you.
But, like, the thing is,
yeah.
like, the other people on the plane, they're not me, though. If they die, it doesn't really affect me too much, apart from possibly being arrested. But if they die, I'm dead as well anyway, so... they
not
can't arrest me
necessarily.
dead, man.
Unless you survive. You're the worst part is, it will be worse. Imagine you survive. Imagine you just live. So that'd be the worst part.
No, in that case, Israel, if I do survive and I'm still able to move at least, I run away and go into hiding.
All right. Do you guys feel that you have the mentality? So this includes confidence, attitude, and self-discipline. I think this
100%.
applies more to learning to be a pilot, actually.
Self-discipline, yeah. Yeah, self-discipline.
100% I have those, especially with confidence, as you see by how quickly I answered. I'm extremely overconfident, so...
How about you, Reese? What are you thinking? Confidence,
you guys
attitude,
know
self-discipline.
I have just bucket loads of self-confidence and self-discipline spare, of course. I did
Right.
barely scrape by uni, shout out COVID.
Yeah, I think I would say I do have the mentality to become a pilot. Granted, I haven't been to school in a while, but I feel like if I were to go
4
back,
years.
I could pull it off. Yeah.
That's fine. You haven't been you
4
haven't-
years
you haven't
already.
been to school in 5 years.
I haven't. Yeah, 4 years. 4 years.
Israel, what's actually wilder is the fact that we've been in school for how many years of our life? 17
Don't give me
Yeah.
figures like that. Nobody wants
Oh,
to hear
yeah.
that.
All right. The next one, leadership.
I'm pretty good at telling people they're wrong.
See, I was about to
And
say,
why
that's
they're
what
wrong.
we mean, how good you mean leadership, because there's leading people, and then there's leading people well, where they actually, want to listen to you, not follow the authority.
Well, you do have
Like-
to sort of develop foster a team mentality
Yeah.
within the flight.
Yeah.
I feel like I have reasonable leadership skills. However, I've kind of tried to, over the past several years, try to not be the person at the forefront of things. Instead, being, the person doing the work and doing leadership and directing people from the background. That way, so if everything goes wrong, you can blame the other dude who was the poster child. So
Yeah, the person that's actually in control, but not the person that'll get the blame.
Now you're thinking like a politician.
I've been told that
Wild.
way too many times over the past few years.
Right. Yeah. I think I feel like I could have a pretty well-oiled flight crew. I think I could lead some people. I am similar in the way where if I don't have to be the leader, then I won't. But if the situation calls for it, then
Yeah.
sure.
To be fair, I don't think I've even ever really taken a leadership role, to be fair. So,
You want to host a podcast next week?
sure, I can try that.
Yo,
Sure.
we actually let's go. Let's go.
Sure.
Simi's
go.
already
Let's
trying to hand it
go.
off.
Yeah.
Wait,
I just want to.
Hold on, the one episode where Simi did the podcast, after that Simba disappeared, so now that Israel's taking over, is Simi just gonna disappear? Or are we just gonna get rid
I
of
was going to
hosts
leave
one by
it till
one
the
as we
end of
pass
this
it on?
episode, guys. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm retiring. Right.
Damn.
Okay. The ability to understand technical information. So obviously, you you're driving or flying a huge vehicle, all these knobs and whistles and all that sort of stuff. How do you feel you would handle having to understand what each and everything does in that cockpit?
Jesus Christ,
It's what I'm thinking for you, you know, especially as a producer, you probably have one of those like mixer boards, right? I feel like knobs and all that are something that you would be like familiar with.
That's wild. That was a wild sentence.
I was thinking it as I said it, but I was like, I've already started, so I have to finish
I
it.
heard the same thing. I was like, let me not be out and be that guy, you know?
Jesus.
I'll just go let that slide.
Okay, right. To be fair, with music, it's honestly, the desk is easy to use, mostly because all of it is just the same thing, copied and pasted over across 60 channels. So that is very easy.
Yeah,
once you know
true,
one,
actually.
you know the rest.
Right.
I feel like it's just a thing of memorization, honestly, because like I feel like anyone, if they really put in the time and the effort, could learn what everything does and what everything is. It's just how quickly you would be to pick up on that, honestly, because
I think I could. Yeah, it's the same thing. It just with practice and time, I think you can learn just about anything. So you know, especially if you're going to pilot school, where the whole point is that you're learning about these things. So yeah, I think I could put it off. You feeling the same, Reese?
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like this list just wanted to stretch it out to 10. I'm just going to combine 9 and 10 together. So it says creativity and knowing when to break the rules.
Wait.
Which sounds wild as a pilot, but...
Yeah, I know, break the rules. Time
Well,
to
like,
break.
you know, simple rule, you know, be like, yo, I need this runway, let me land here. And sometimes you may go, my plane doesn't have a choice. I can't stay in the air much longer. I'm landing here. You know?
Right.
I'm landing in a river.
Yeah, it is sort of related to that idea of quick thinking, you know.
Quick thinking, yeah.
If the usual procedures are not available, are you going to be able to figure out an alternative solution?
I understood that, done something, I could probably, you know, be creative and be able to break the rules. Hopefully one day I'll be able to understand the laws of physics and then break the laws of physics.
That's not how it works as well.
I know it's not how that works.
Yeah,
I
laws
know
like
it's
that
not.
kind of concrete.
Yeah. How about you, Reese? You a rule breaker?
I'm
breaks
an
rules constantly.
expert. I'm an expert at creative problem
I'm not sure
solving.
if I would say
Let's
I'm not
go.
sure if I would say, you know, he does, like, is successful with it, but he definitely breaks the rules a lot.
For me, I you know, if I have to break the rules, then sure. But I would just be so concerned with, listen, breaking the rules is all good and well when things work out for the best. But if you break the rules and things go wrong, mate, it's peak.
Simon, then you just have to sit down and explain to them how if you didn't, would have been worse.
Exactly, yeah, but it's not that easy, is it?
So long as you have a justified reason to break rules, I feel like it's fine.
I mean, yeah, if you have to do it, then you've got to do what you got to do. And you just have to hope that the officials that are looking at the report agree. But yeah, you know, like we've been speaking about, you know, this idea of being a pilot and, you know, jobs like that. And it got me thinking about how we have 3 people here, excluding me, who have, you know, graduated from university. And I was just curious about your thoughts on careers. So the first question I wanted to ask is, have either of you guys ever taken a careers quiz?
I think the last time
I
did was in secondary school or sixth form. They had us do it like one time.
I do remember our school actually did do it. I personally have done so many careers quizzes because, you know, I always wanted to know. I was like, what is the right job for me? And I would search and search and search. I think for me, it suggested it was two very different fields. So one was the computer science, data science, and then on the other end, it was writer, actor, TV producer, stuff like that. So
You're
very
basically that, right?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. So I chose that end of the spectrum for my results. How about you, Reese? What came up for your one?
I think for me it was very like programmer, software engineer type based, and then also very like creative based, like graphic designer, artist, a lot of stuff like that. Did I pick wrong? Who knows?
Well, that leads me on to my next question. do you guys feel like you would like to pursue a career in the field for which you studied? So just to give some more context to the audience, Israel, you studied music tech, Reese studied computer science, and Isaac studied engineering. So would you like to pursue careers in those fields?
Yes.
Now, here's the thing, right? I think yes, but I don't actually know, because warning to anyone who's studying engineering, in particular mechanical at uni, you don't actually learn engineering. It's more of a background information and a few times where you apply it during group projects or individual projects. But
That's just a lot with the uni, to be fair.
yeah, I wouldn't say that you actually, do engineering, especially because I know as soon as I get to a job, they're going to tell me, oh yeah, they're going to give actual training and go, so this is what you're actually doing, basically. So I think so far, but I don't know. But even then, I've tried to diversify career paths to a degree, so then I have a few options of things to do, even if this one doesn't work out.
And how about you, Reese? You looking to pursue a career in computer science?
See, now that's one of the fields that get to be a cheat answer, because you can give me almost any field in existence, and I could, potentially be somewhere in there.
That's
just
true.
with the white, because it is just so broad. But
Yeah.
I mean, I hope so, considering I've just studied it for the last 4 years and a few years before that.
Yeah, that's interesting, because we are sort of put on this track, at least in UK schools, we're put on this track fairly early on, where from the moment you choose your GCSEs, you kind of start closing doors to other career paths.
Oh my
seems.
god.
Yeah.
Because you need certain GCSEs to do certain A levels, and then you need certain A levels to do certain university courses. And so it does feel like you're closing doors. Israel, did you have something to say about that?
Yeah, I did have something to say about that. I was just thinking about how back because I remember during GCSEs, especially because at the time and during our school, I think a lot of people wanted to do computing, but a lot of people couldn't do computing because it was overfilled at some point, and so some people just couldn't do computing. So they just didn't. Yeah, some people just couldn't do computing and had to choose a different subject.
It's it is interesting, right? There is that pressure amongst young people to sort of choose early, and then you do feel like you're closing off your options. Which I would like to say, just to anyone who's younger who may be listening to this, I do think that it's inevitable that some doors close. Not just as a result of whatever subjects you choose, but that's just a natural part of life. There are some things, for example, I'm not going to be a child actor anytime soon, considering I'm not a child anymore. But it doesn't mean there's no chance for being able to do something. So let's say you didn't study computer science in school. There are still ways that you can, if you want to do software programming, you can do it. I mean, if you have a computer, you can get started and you can give it a go.
Well, what age are you at? Year 9, year 10? 12, 13 years old, asked to decide what you're doing for the rest of your life, bro.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, so
I'm 22 now, and I don't even know what I'm eating for dinner today. Forget planning the rest of my life.
Well, all I'm going to say with regards to that basically is if you have an idea of something you already think you want to do, pick with regards to that. But if you don't be scared. Just pick what you want, because you might make a mistake, but you can fix that in the future, because really and truly, there are too many ways to make mistakes to be worrying, and you're only 13. You're not gonna die within the next 10 years, probably, statistically speaking. So you can make up for it if you are a bit behind.
Yeah, pick the things you enjoy, and then hope you can find something within that.
Yeah. It's funny though, because I feel like a lot of this, sort of forcing kids to make early choices is based on this idea of a dream job, that there would be a job you would have where nothing else compares and that's all you want to do. I just wanted to ask you guys, do you or have you ever had a dream job?
I think one of my dream jobs was to be a footballer. That was one of my dream
Oh,
jobs.
okay, yeah.
Yeah. I think back when I found out what computing was, I was thinking of, I could be a coder or something. I don't know. I kind of like this. I also wanted to be a guitarist in a band. That's another thing. That's actually, I also, there's just basically a bunch of other stuff I wanted to do. But I think I also wanted to be a YouTuber, which is technically what I'm technically doing, but it's not as a job anyways. So, yeah. No, not yet. Currently not yet. So, yeah. So.
Right. Cool. How about any of the other guys? Ever had a dream job, or do you currently have a dream job?
I don't think I've ever even held like a strong interest for like a specific thing like that for long enough to have some sort of like dream job. You know, it's like, oh, cool, I really like this thing. Then stumble across something else. It's like, I forget that. This is more interesting now. Let's focus on this. I think right now, probably something like robotics based, I think.
Right. Yeah, you want to speak to robots rather than humans. I get that.
Yeah, you know, they're more predictable, less infuriating.
Yeah.
And, you know, it could be pretty cool to, you know, put on your CV that, you know, you helped bring about the end of the world, you know?
That is pretty game off, to be honest.
I'd be very surprised at who's accepting CVs during the end of the world, but sure.
Hey, man, we need people to work for robot overlords.
Oh, true. Yeah, they'll be like, oh, you helped us? All right, sure. Come on in.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I think you bring up a very interesting point about, you know, just this idea of a dream job. You know, whenever I went to like a sort of uni open day thing and there was a tour guide, I would ask, and I specifically remember like a Cambridge open day that we went to with the school, and I asked the tour guide, I was like, and this wasn't in relation to a career necessarily, this was more so to a topic, but I was like, I couldn't really see myself studying one thing for, you know, 3 years straight in order to get a career doing one thing. And yeah, he didn't really have any advice for me. Probably because he's a student himself, going through the exact same thing. But yeah, that's why the idea of a dream.
Yeah, a little bit too relatable, stupid kid. Yeah, see, for me, I'm kind of like the opposite of, I guess, this entire group, because like since I was like the age of like I think 6 or 7, I was like, you know what? Let's test out this entire engineering thing, because I don't know what young Isaac was on, but he like fully like did some research and did like actual like investigation into the current job market. Was like, there seems to be a deficit in engineers right now. So like, if I was to become an engineer,
I refuse to believe this was a dream.
Amazing.
No, this was true. This is actually
Martin
what happened, which is why literally since like 4 years I've literally been like, because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be on this path at all. But like literally because of that, I basically planned out the path like from early on, which is why you see that even in secondary school I did all of those extracurricular things. I did a lot of things to get on my personal statement, basically. That was like my realistic one. However, apart from that, I did have a few things like that I wanted to do. Like since I was young, I really enjoyed writing when I was younger. So I was like, oh yeah, let me do writing. Kind of took a backseat until recently because of, you know, the whole school thing.
Same for me.
I feel like it's just more important to like we said before, just, you know, diversify. So if you don't enjoy one thing, you can do another, or you can do both at the same time if you enjoy like different parts of each, and then you always have something to go to, because like, yeah, no, just
or in general, find a general idea. For me, it wasn't necessarily like, it's like I was like, computer science, the coding thing, it's kind of cool, I guess. But it's like the main thing is like I just enjoy making things. I like, you know, having an idea and seeing it come to life before me. And, you know, my ability to draw and more artistic version of creating was kind of lacking. And, you know, the more like logical approach of coding, so I went with, and it's just like, yeah, it's just that idea of having an idea and creating something, and then finding like an area within that works with you type thing is how I've sort of more good about it.
There's one thing I'll say. I don't think there is an idea of a dream job, but I don't think there's an idea of a job that, you know, will ease things for you. Even if you like to do it or it's something you want to do, you still have to put an effort into it, regardless.
With that though, you're going to stress through it. However, I feel like the whole idea of a dream job is what form that stress takes. Because like if you enjoy doing something, like yeah, you'll still feel stressed by it, but it almost might take on like the like feel of excitement, basically, that you're enjoying it, rather than just like, oh, this is so much effort. To just wake up is effort. I don't really want to do this. So
you know the quote. You know, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And there was a tweet, you know, with that quote, and it crossed it out, and then had an explanation of do what you love, and you'll work super hard all the time with no separation or any boundaries, and also take everything extremely personally. Basically. Right.
That can definitely happen. Yeah.
I'm very curious to see. I'm not an Unverified expert. I can't remember who is in what, but I believe there was an episode, however many times ago, about the idea of the one. And I mean, dream job is just capitalism's version of that. I'm curious, like how matching the views are there.
That's interesting.
That's
one
so true.
Thing that you're just aiming for the whole time, and you know you may find it, but maybe there's something better. But you just you stopped here.
Yeah, that's one of the. I feel like that's one of the earlier episodes, maybe around episode 7 or so. And it had Reese, myself,
right now
and
on
Simba.
YouTube.com/.
Absolutely, you should check out youtube.com/unverified to check
course.
that out. But yeah, that would be very interesting to see the parallels drawn there. But you know what? I think that will be it for today's podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in, people. I mean, I thought this was a really interesting conversation, and I just wanted to bring it up because I feel like, especially with uni being done, and it really feels like this is a new chapter in the lives of a lot of us. And so I thought it'd be interesting to discuss. So thank you, as always, guys, for joining me in such
For
an
us, it was a
interesting
new chapter.
discussion.
It was just another Tuesday.
Yeah, that's true. It was just another Tuesday. This is true. It might be interesting to discuss sometime.
Tuesday.
It's all shut up.
It might be interesting to discuss sometime, like the sort of contrast between those who have gone to uni and those who haven't. So we may have to get Connor on, and then the two boys who graduated this year to discuss that. That might be interesting. But that will be for another podcast, which you can find on youtube.com/unverified, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Please remember to rate us 5 stars. It helps our podcast grow. As
Or
always, you
whatever
can
the
find...
rating system is.
Yes, whatever the rating system. If it's just a like, click that like button. Smash that freaking like button.
If it's sacrificing your soul to the dark demon lord, then do that as well. You know, give us all those souls.
Yeah, all the souls, please.
Yeah,
all the souls. And yes, you can find links to our social media in the description below if you're watching the YouTube version. And if you want to tune in to see us live, you can head on over to twitch.tv/unverifshow, where you'll be able to find all of our individual streams and you can join us for some live goodness. You can also find our Twitter accounts in the description as well. Guys, do we have any closing statements? Israel, you go first.
Work hard for what you want, but try not to stress yourselves, basically. Take breaks, do try to do other stuff outside of the thing you love as well. Just try to find other hobbies to, not like destroy yourself mentally, basically.
That's a good shout right there. Good shout. How about you, Isaac? Anything to say to the people?
I mean, I'd just like to say, like, with all these talks of jobs and things, I just like people to remember the importance of home. Like, home is where you feel most comfortable, it's where, like, you go all the time. And so with that regard, how can you call it coming home when it's only been here once? That's like a visit at most. It's not even a holiday. Like, what the heck, guys?
Reese, can we get your closing statement?
You don't necessarily have to go to uni. There's other ways.
Yeah.
If you haven't picked the subject to get to the uni for the subject you want, find another way. They tell you it's mandatory and it's the only way you'll ever get anywhere in life. It's a lie. There's other ways.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Like,
because
the thing which helps, scores the most is that statistic of how many people get to uni. So they'll never actually, push too much the whole concept of apprenticeships or any other way to, do the things which you want to do. So look into it, especially because a lot of the systems are actually easier than uni, like Christ, Lucas,
and for some subjects, uni is not necessarily the best choice.
Sorry to extend the outro even more. Sorry, but there is one thing I will say, especially if you're a Nigerian person with very strict parents who want you to go uni. You need to stand up to your parents now. Otherwise, things won't get better for you afterwards. That is something I will say.
Or just quietly cut them out and don't talk to them about it.
Okay, not that one.
I picked my subjects. I picked my subjects and there's nothing you can do to change it.
Right. Awesome. And my closing statement is actually a quote from Hank Green that I watched during a time when I was really, sort of confused about what I was going to do. And he said that, honestly, in life, it's not so much about what you're doing, it's who you're doing it with. And I love joining up with my boys to record this podcast, and you, the listener, for joining us too. Thank you very much, people. We'll catch you next time on the Unverified Podcast. Yeah, all of that. He genuinely said Unverified Podcast. He actually said that. Amazing. Thank you, people.
Yeah,
Bye.
we got a shout out.
Bye.
See ya.